what I'd like to explore with you today is the importance of options and that we actually have basically infinitely more options than we imagine. I believe that's a true statement because actually we have infinite options. And so no matter how many options you believe you have infinitely more options than you believe, unless you believe you have infinitely many options. But so it's such an important topic to understand, and unless and until you understand it, then you'll find yourself being unnecessarily stuck in your life. And I know that this is such an important topic because it's one of the main things that keeps people stuck. And it's actually worse than that because many people, and I know this because I, well, I'll put it this way: many people who I communicate with have shared with me that they actually contemplate killing themselves because of the stuckness that they experience. And so if you think about it, you have infinitely many options available to you, and virtually none of which you've really actually explored. I mean, no matter how many options you've explored compared to the infinitely many options available, it's a drop in the bucket. And yet, people are willing to throw in the towel because they are not actually considering the options that are available to them. And sometimes people will say, "Oh, well, what does it matter? I mean, what does it matter to you? I mean, just mind your own business. It doesn't matter if somebody else wants to kill themselves." And I guess that's true. On the other hand, I do think that it's worth just adding some things for consideration. Sometimes people will say, "Well, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I mean, it's just if a person is suffering and then they kill themselves, then the suffering's over. So it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter." And I say, "Well, possibly, but can you know that for sure? And if you're honest about it, you can't know that for sure. And if you can't know that for sure, then you could at least consider the possibility that maybe it's different than that, right? So, what if killing oneself is not the end? What if killing self is just an action in a long chain of actions that has consequences? And so, are you sure that you want to take that action? Because if you don't know, then maybe you'd want to be a little bit more cautious about that. And if you think about it this way, it's just another possibility of another way of looking at it. I'm not saying that I can prove to you that this is accurate. I'm just saying this is at least as plausible and it as the other way of looking at it, as and that this way of looking at it might offer some new, better options to consider. What if you considered it this way? What if you are endeavoring to accomplish something, let's say to understand something, to learn something, to discover something, and you have been working at that, and you have made steps, and let's say this lifetime is a part of that process, a significant achievement in that process. And you've encountered a certain point in that process where you put yourself in a corner, basically, and forgot that you have options. And so you say, "Oh, it's too hard. I can't progress. I'm stuck." Now, considering in this way of looking at it, what I'm proposing is you've made a lot of progress, actually. So wouldn't it be then more sensible to just find other options that would allow you to continue the process of learning whatever it is that you want to learn rather than throwing in the towel with the process that you've already invested so much in? Especially since you don't know, again, what the outcome would be of killing yourself. So one possibility is it doesn't matter, it's the end, and it doesn't matter. But if you don't know that that's true, then it's equally plausible that it's not the end, and it's also plausible that you would just be setting yourself back in the process that you're already engaged in. If you want to learn something, then rather than just saying, "Oh, screw it," maybe you could consider that you've already invested so much. Let's explore some other options first. So, if that makes any sense to you, then you could keep that in mind, especially when you encounter those moments in your life when you feel like, it's too hard, I'm stuck, I give up. There's an intelligence in giving up, but not necessarily taking. There's a difference between giving up and killing oneself, because killing oneself is different than giving up. Killing oneself is actually taking an action, whereas giving up would be to not take an action. To temporarily give up would be to temporarily not take action, which might actually allow you to open up to a broader perspective, which might actually open you up to new options. Whereas to kill oneself is actually just to continue with the same stuckness, limiting your perception of options, and then taking an action to further that way of perceiving things.